YouTube is a great way to share regardless of what your objective is.
I get excited about making stuff, and I hope that kind of comes through, and I hope that doing the crazy things I do opens up people's imaginations a little bit.
My inspiration comes from whatever it is I find that kind of sparks something within me.
I'm doing what I really enjoy doing, and with the people that I love the most.
Hello, welcome to Young Man's Workshop. This past April, I attended the Woodworking Conference in Atlanta, Georgia. The Video Woodworkers had a booth there, and I had the opportunity to interview them and put together this video. Hopefully in the next few moments, you see what lies beneath the sawdust and shavings of these amazing makers. They have deep-rooted passion for what they make, what they share, and the families behind the scenes.
My favorite part of the day is getting to see my daughter smile. Because I take her to school every day, I wake her up every day, get her dressed. Because my wife's already going to work by this time, so getting to see my daughter smile and hug me just makes my day that much better, so I can carry on throughout the rest of the day. And same goes whenever I get home. I get to see her first, spend time with her before I even do anything out in the shop. So getting to see the family is probably the part I look forward to the most.
I've got 3 boys, and that is a time for us to bond together. You know, that's a place that we can let our creative juices flow and form a bond with each other, with my kids and my family. And it's just, in that sense, it's a sanctuary. You know, I'm doing what I really enjoy doing, and with the people that I love the most.
Where do these woodworkers come from? How did they start? Some have just recently been inspired to start their own channel and take their adventure public. Some started just with a saw, a toy saw.
I started out with a hand saw, and it was actually a toy, Handy Andy toy kit that came with this little hand saw with a plastic handle, and it would not. I think it was dull on purpose so it wouldn't cut kids, but it barely cut through wood. And then he gave me a better hand saw, and it's like, oh, this is easier. And then he let me use the jigsaw, and then that's when I really got into it. And then from there, he let me use the bandsaw, and that turned out to be my favorite tool. So, yeah, it's, you know, you don't have to spend a lot of money or buy expensive tools to start making stuff. You can start with just a jigsaw or handsaw or whatever and see how you like it.
Whenever I wanted to learn how to use a drill, I picked it up and I took it over to him. He was working on something or another, and I was like, hey, will you show me how to do this, like chuck a bit? And so he said, sure. And so he showed me real quick, and then I sat there for 10 minutes and just practiced, essentially. And then went to my shop and or not to my shop, but out to the garage at that point. And then I went and picked up the jigsaw, and I said, okay, will you show me how to use this one? And made a test cut, and then I went to town. So he's always been really supportive of, especially at the very beginning, you know, showing me anything that I was wanting to learn.
So I got some old crappy chisels and some old piece of wood, and I made the ugliest boil-over saw. It took me 16 hours. But that's all I could think about that night, was the next bowl I was going to make. It just consumed me. And since I didn't have any tools, I started to go to flea markets and auctions and pick them up. And then I just started to use more and more, create more and more challenging items, and started doing YouTube videos to share it with people. And you know, it really came down to, you know, since I didn't start with any of the power tools, I decided just to keep going without them. And so again, I enjoyed the challenge of it, but it all started because I saw a video about a guy in Alaska, and I just wanted to try and stay true to his form, which was, you know, you don't use electricity, you just use your hands and your body.
Before I started doing YouTube, I loved just watching people make stuff on YouTube, and that was sort of my escape, and that's what sort of inspired me to start my own channel. And I would say the one guy that helped me to kind of take that step would be Jimmy DeRisto. He was like my number one. For me, that was my biggest guy to watch. It sort of idolized him, which is kind of cool because today he is in the booth with me, which is really kind of surreal. It's hard for me to get my head around that.
These content creators live day-to-day lives, and time and again, there is something that stirs inside them, an itch that must be scratched, a spark that ignites what we eventually see as a YouTube project video. Some are inspired by the act of solving problems. Day-to-day news, interactions, and the hustle and bustle of life all about them.
My inspiration day to day comes from, and I've said it in my TEDx talk, is just the slurry, the input, the constant input of looking at other YouTube videos, just shopping at junk shops, looking at the junk tables in here, looking at old tools. My inspiration comes from whatever it is I find that kind of sparks something within me. Just today at the show here, I found this plane that adjusts for curve, convex or concave. So I bought that for $100, and that's going to turn into a video. So the tool is going to dictate the video. What I'm making, I don't know. All I know is it's got to be curved. That's all I know.
How am I going to solve these problems without using electrical power tools? And so what I enjoy about my day is finding that other part of my brain that's working on solving problems. And, every couple of days I have a eureka moment. We'll have a tough problem and the answer will just pop into my mind. Then I step on the gas pedal. I can't wait to get home and go do it in the shop.
There's always this moment where something special comes up that I can add to the project or do, or part of a story I can tell with the project. And whenever that moment hits, that's when I get really excited, can't wait to get home and start working on that project.
They have accomplished great things, not just because they are talented, but because they put their mind, body, and soul into their project.
My hobby is very much mind, body, and soul. I mean, I create things with just my hands and my body, and so it's a great stress relief. It's a great escape from work, and I just get a lot of satisfaction out of it.
I want to be able to look around my house and see more things that I've built than I haven't.
The personal side of it, like I completed that, and hey, that was my thought, and now it's a reality. That's really awesome.
Yeah, score! They like the pump cart. I built a crazy looking pump cart, and my kids are still using it. They're probably at the house right now pumping that thing around the neighborhood, and I'm just like, that was the best build ever, because the kids are using it. So that's a real sense of pride, and I get a huge amount of enjoyment out of that.
I got my formal training from because I went to North Bennett Street School, and I'm pretty proud of that. It's 130-year-old trade school, and they only accept 10 to 12 students a semester, and it's it was a big accomplishment in my life to graduate from there. And then for me, it gives me this beautiful record of my life, exactly what I was doing at that time, a year ago.
So the lumber selection and the private part selections from the lumber is my favorite part of any project because I get to make that bland, drab concept into my own thing that really reflects my own inspiration of the wood and how I want to use it in the project. It really makes it my own.
For me, YouTube is a canvas. Lately, when people ask me, what is your biggest accomplishment or what is the best thing you make that I've made, and I like to say my best accomplishment is my body of videos, is my catalog of videos. Because now, if I'm doing a lecture or if I'm doing a classroom situation, anybody asks me anything, I can almost always find it in one of my YouTube videos.
Even though there are challenges ahead, there is a great community building up around us. All over the world, more and more people are opening up communications, sharing, talking, posting and getting feedback, helping them learn faster, quicker, and pass on knowledge and refine our skills.
I think back to whenever I very first got into woodworking and wanting to learn tools. I didn't even know how to use a drill, and it was really frustrating for me because I was really motivated, but I didn't know how to begin. And I ended up going through all the trial and error for pretty much a year before I stumbled into the community. And from the time that I discovered the woodworking community until now, I was just able to learn so much more once I discovered the community. And so what I want to reach out to the people who are in that same boat that don't know this community exists, but are motivated to learn this craft, and suck them in and say, you're not alone. If you need help, look at all this stuff. Look at all this free content. Look at all the support that you have.
It's just that helpfulness. Woodworking, like I said, I've been at it for over 20 years, and woodworkers largely impart are just a sharing community. If you have a question about, hey, I've never tried a lathe, I've never tried a scroll saw, you can ask fellow woodworkers, and they'll be more than happy to share their knowledge and information. So this is just taking it to the digital age with the videos, and so that's the part of the community. Like, hey, I just want to share because so many people have shared so much with me, and that really is what strengthens and builds the community.
This YouTube community is just a great collection of good, honest, hardworking people that vibe off each other. Everybody's happy for each other's accomplishments. There doesn't seem to be any jealousy. There doesn't seem to be any envy. Everybody's happy to see everybody succeed.
The communication, direct connection, or I've gotten challenges from people, and I mean a good, polite, in a healthy way, right? Healthy competition and stuff. So I mean, it's refining us. It's motivating us to share, refine, learn, be decent,
As this community is growing, YouTubers everywhere are getting excited about sharing the hum and buzz of this video social platform. They are excited to take what they have learned, pass it around, and raise everyone up to the next level and beyond.
You click publish and it's just like refreshing the page for comments because I want to respond, and that's very fun. That's very rewarding. The interaction, the feedback.
That's why I build the machines. There's a lot of, I want to take my passion and just show the world that it doesn't have to be one particular thing. It doesn't have to be furniture. It doesn't have to be cabinets. It doesn't have to be this. It can be anything you want it to be. Anything.
Comment section. I think I live for the comment section. People saying that they've gotten inspired, or they just got into it, or they tried a project that I've done. Anything like that, to where, oh my God, I impacted somebody else, and they made something, and whether it turned out good or bad, that's, they wanted to make something with their hands, and they did because they saw something I did.
And somebody out there does not. Because I know there are things that I have researched and I wanted to find that knowledge, and I found it through YouTube or through an article or something like that. But if you have the knowledge and somebody else doesn't, I like to look at it as paying it forward. Spreading that knowledge that somebody might not have and give them access freely through YouTube to find it and learn for themselves.
I didn't know this about myself until I started this journey, but sharing information, teaching, it's something that I'm also really passionate about. So yeah, giving out information and passing that along has become just as big of an obsession to me as building.
I think it's about sharing. For me, I think it's about sharing more than building. It's always all about the video, because that goes so much further. And even thinking about it, this whole YouTube thing, it's like I could work really hard to get a gallery show in Manhattan or something, right? And I've done it before, and it's been nice. But what do you get? The show might be up for a week, and you get on opening night, people come for the free wine. You might sell one thing, you might not. You might get a write-up or something, but it doesn't really go that far. I'm getting messages from Belgium, from Munich. Someone's like, next time you're here, stop by. You're welcome anytime. Come, I'd love for you to hang in my shop and have insane. How crazy is that? Well, otherwise, what do I do in New York? A bunch of art snobs. It's about sharing and inspiring. The greatest compliment I think that I can receive is when I get an email and someone has recreated my project.
Oftentimes, the greatest lessons we learn are most reflected in what we do for other people. It is important to take the skills you have honed in the shop and apply them to the more important things in life, like the people around us.
Another reclaim project that I did was, there's a guy that I know that has he called it a crib. It's an old barn, a small barn outside his house. His granddad had built the barn, the house, the land that he lived on. It all came from his granddad. They operated a dairy farm. That's how they lived back in the 50s or whatever. That was the business they had. And his granddad built this barn with his own hands. Had the lumber milled and everything. You still see those saw marks in the old barn wood. And it was falling, and he let me get some wood off of it. And so I kept a lot of that wood and did some projects with it, but I turned a lot of that wood into a picture frame for him and took a picture of that old crib, that barn, and put that in the frame, and then gave it to him. So now he's got a picture of his granddad's old barn, and the frame is the wood that's on the barn. So
he was really kind to people, and if anybody needed anything, they could always ask him, and he was there to help them out. So I think a lot of me wanting to share what I know and to help other people comes from seeing him doing that with our neighbors and, you know, our friends' parents. And, you know, he could fix anything. He would fix people's cars for them and, you know, just charge them for the parts or whatever, stuff like that. So I like to do that sort of thing whenever I see an opportunity to help somebody. I try to do something to help.
These YouTube woodworkers were gracious enough to sit with me and give me some of their time and wisdom. Here are some parting words which really get at the heart of what these group of passionate people want to share with you.
I think a lot of people get caught up with trying to learn SketchUp and all the software to design things when it's okay to just sketch it out on a piece of paper.
It really started as a personal improvement thing for me, and just to get myself out there and start doing it, because I knew if I didn't start, I wouldn't get better.
There's no reason to be afraid of something. You can always learn. You can always tackle it. You can always move on. So get past it.
You can customize it. It's yours. Take ownership of it, and just get out and make some stuff.
Let's see where you take it. You know what I mean? And if we all feed off of each other like that, we're gonna be in a fucking great place. There's no doubt about it. You know, whether we have just the perfectly designed picnic table to eat at, or, you know, we have inhabited Mars successfully. You know what I mean? And the point is, it can only lead to good things.
It was a joy and privilege to interview these YouTube woodworkers. Now you can see that their passion goes far beyond the wood, metal, and tools that we see in their YouTube videos. I hope you have found this production encouraging. Go out there and make something. But don't just build another project. Make passion.